Good morning to you and welcome to New Day Cleveland. I am Natalie Herbeck and we have a wonderful show for you today. We are highlighting local artists from across Northeast Ohio, from woodworking to sewing and really everything in between. There's so much talent here to showcase, so we're going to get started today with an artist that turns old baseball gloves into something new. This is Yurko Stitch.
Yurko Stitch, we take baseball gloves and we make them into functional wallets and accessories, from bracelets, earrings, necklaces, wallets, coasters, pop sockets. We do a bunch of different stuff. November 2015, I needed a wallet. I've always been kind of crafty. I learned that from my mom. And so I went out and bought a Nolan Ryan baseball glove and I tore it apart and I made it and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I look back at it now and it's the worst thing I've ever created, but you know, you got to start somewhere. And then I just started making a little bit for friends and families, and then all of a sudden I was like, well, people actually like this stuff. Let's try to make a business about it. Everybody has played catch, more so than shot a basketball hoop or even played football. It's that one-on-one connection that you have with that person that you're playing catch with is why the baseball glove leather is so good to use, because there's so much story behind it all. I always say, the dirt, scuffs, and scars. And everything that we make, I don't clean up, I don't do anything. You just leave it and you can put the wallet up to your nose and you'll get, blown back to when you were a kid playing catch with your dad or your grandpa or whoever. Custom work is a big part of what we do. We get gloves sent to me from all around the country. That was maybe their grandfathers or their dads or their sons, they want something, and I'm able to tear it apart and send it back to them. For example, I had a girl, she sent me her dad's who passed away, and I made a ton of home plate keychains, 13 of them I think, and they gave them to their family for Christmas. So every family member that has passed away, they're now able to hold on to a piece of their memory. It's something that they loved. Just email me, and then what I like is when people just send me the pictures of their gloves, and honestly, through a picture, I can tell you exactly what I can make for you out of your own personal glove. It's nerve-wracking at the same time doing custom stuff, but it's so much fun. We have 6 different styles. Our most popular styles are our money clips and our slide-in, and those will hold about 8 to 10 cards. It really fits every aspect of life. If you're the George Costanza or you're a person that carries 1 card in their driver's license, that's it. So it covers everybody. The women's line is really taken off a lot. My wife, obviously, she inspired me. I don't wear that stuff, so I don't think about women's gear. I make bracelets, home plate necklaces, and I also make earrings. The response that I've gotten from the women's line has been huge, and I'm thrilled that, listen to your wife is really what I've learned. Our relationship with the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, it's kind of surreal to say that I'm in the Hall of Fame. I can actually say that. But yeah, they carry my stuff in their team shop, also on their website. I make special custom coasters for them you can only get in Cooperstown. It's just awesome to be a part of someone else's story in such a small way too. Remember that the feeling that you get when you pull that wallet out, of the memories that you had as a child or with your kid or with your grandparent or whoever.
You can learn more about Yurko Stitch by visiting their website. How about some artwork designed by nature? This is Honeybee Design.
So I take rocks and stones and pebbles and sea glass and shells and even sometimes mixed media, nails and screws and bolts and washers and Lego tires off of Lego pieces, sorry kids. And I turn them into landscapes or seascapes or birds on trees or your backyard that you want to remember. Or I take pictures that people send me or that I find of my family that I want to keep and recapture and have in a different medium. So I use rocks and all sorts of things from Mother Nature to recreate memories and pictures and ideas. I search for rocks, and if it's in the summer, that is a bonus time because I'm out anyway and my kids are out, and that's what kind of got me started anyway. If it's winter, I was working on a piece for a police officer in Cleveland, and she wanted a specific piece with the baby feet and that I do, and of her family together, and I just couldn't find something that I already had in my house. So I shoveled like through the snow out here and into a bucket and dumped them into the bathtub and just kind of washed everything, and it was like a scavenger hunt in my bathtub to find the right piece for her skirt and the right piece for her body and the right little arms and legs for the kids. So I have little rock piles all around the yard of things I found, or my kids or the neighbors bring over. One of the little neighbors across the street, she'll find a cool rock, or even the older kids, and they know, I don't know, I'm the rock lady now, I guess. There are so many details to a simple picture. And also when you're looking at a very detailed picture, you need to make it very simple. So maybe that doesn't make sense, but in my head it does. But when you're looking, let's say, at a horse, you really need to break it down almost into like the shadow of the horse, or just the basic outline of the horse. But then you have to find the pieces that make up like the belly of the horse, and then the front of it. And one little piece can make a difference to make or break it, whether or not it really looks like what you want it to look like. That people see what I see in them and appreciate it, and even just take a minute to look at it or comment on it, that just blows me away, because it's something so simple and it can be so easy, but it's also really hard. I was at a craft show one time, and this teenage girl was like, "Can I take a picture of this? I want to try and do this." And her mom was like, "No, don't do that. Like she would, offend me or something." I said, "Oh no, do it. Take a picture, do it, try it, make it your own, because even if 20 other people decided to try and make the same piece, it's all going to turn out differently, and it's all going to be really cool."
For more information about Honeybee Design, you can go onto their Facebook page. When we come back, it is tie-dyed works of art. Welcome back to New Day Cleveland. We are continuing to feature amazing local artists. How about this one? You can capture the memory of your loved one in a pillow. This is Made in Jane.
Made in Jane is the name of my business, and essentially it's a one-woman sewing studio, or I've referred to it as a factory of one, where I create what my customers want, and most of it is currently upcycled products. I have my products on madeinjane.com, my website, and I'm also on Etsy. What started as a hobby, I would do it when the kids napped or later in the evenings. I made clothes for my kids. Then it evolved into making things as gifts, and then finally making things for a business. Currently I make just about everything made to order. When I started my business about 10 years ago, I was selling headbands and aprons, wine totes, regular totes, beach totes, things that I would like to use around my own house, very practical items. But eventually it evolved into things like memory t-shirt quilts like this one here, and the memory pillows are really popular. People have lost a loved one and they want to take some of those clothing articles and give them to the grandchildren, so it becomes a special memory item for those family members. In this example, this is a sweater, and It's not really rocket science, but I cut it apart, and sometimes that's the hardest part. And I'll try to feature any details in it. In this case, the buttons can actually be used to insert the pillow right in it. In other cases, there might be a zipper, or I'll put a zipper in it. So there is other items that are popular for memory items, and one really big one right now is baby clothes, memory quilts. This quilt is made all with vintage, hand-sewn dresses that belong to my neighbor. And they were made by her grandmother. So these were really delicate, thin cotton fabrics. Some of the squares were made out of her baby blankets. This was made out of her nightgown or bathrobe. And because of the uniqueness of the dresses, I wanted to feature one in the center panel so that it captured the types of dresses that this quilt was made out of. But certainly this is really popular nowadays. As children get older, moms want to hold on to those baby days. The process that I use, so for everything I have to start by cutting into it. If it's a sweater pillow, I usually cut up the side seams. I see what size I can make, but I usually try to make the pillows about 18 inches. And then I will insert a zipper and sew around the four sides. It's fairly straightforward. And this business means a lot to me right now, and it's evolved so much from where it began, from me making aprons. I consider myself blessed because I get to be surrounded by love. It's truly rewarding to create something that will carry on and hold meaning for my customers.
To contact Jane, all you have to do is visit her website. All right, from one special fabric to another, we have a group that creates tie-dye that is as unique as you. This is No Rules.
No Rules Art is a tie-dyeing business. We started off as just an art class. My brother, who has Down syndrome, was graduating, and there wasn't much out there for adults with disabilities. And my sister was getting ready to graduate high school, and she wanted to go into art and art therapy. And so her and my mom started an art class, and one of the projects they did was tie-dyeing socks. They were handing out the socks. Somebody said, "Hey, where'd you get those? I'd like to buy them." And class is still in session. Just in here. Yep, you're gonna line it up so that we can cover it nice. Yep, perfect. We say if it comes in cotton, we can dye it. We have done curtains, we've done table runners, we've done doctor's coats. Anything and everything, we can dye it. And Lisa's working on some scrunchies in her Kevlin, which is pinks and purples. It's a pretty smooth operation. Everyone knows what they're doing, and we kind of built it that way, as opposed to having a business where you're trying to plug people in. This has grown organically, so everybody's kind of found where their abilities lie and where they like to be, and they migrate to it, and no one's been given a title. They've kind of taken it themselves. Ice dyeing is a technique where instead of pre-dissolving the dye, you lay out you can still fold it, you can do any patterning that you want, and then you cover it with ice, and then instead of pre-dissolving the dye, you actually just sprinkle the dye on top, and so as the ice melts, it actually dissolves the dye and brings it into the sock, and so you get kind of separations of the colors. They love being in front of people and selling and saying, "This is mine. I made this." They're not restricted by our views of the world. They have their own views and they bring it to their tie-dye. They get a lot of self-worth out of it. They get a lot of expression, and they're safe here. And one more time, twist, and then bring it, yep, and then bring it back over top. The struggles that they overcome, nothing in my life was that hard. And so a lot of humility and respect is what I get out of it, and enjoying life for what it is.
No Rules can be found in local markets and online. All right, coming up after the break, wait until you see what we have in store. It's wooden sculptures carved with something surprising. Welcome back to New Day Cleveland and our local artist show. This next artist, get this, carves items with a chainsaw. I don't know how he does it, but here's a look.
Carvings by Chris is basically where I do commission work. Somebody has a piece or an item that they would like carved. It doesn't really matter how big or small. Send me some photographs, send me a model, bring a model, come in, have a chat. We'll design the project, put it together, put a quote together, and then if everything falls in place, fire up the chainsaws and start carving. I'll have a go at anything. As long as we can get drawings or a model, I'll have a go at carving anything. But typically do a lot of eagles, owls, bears, Brutus buckeyes.
Good for you, good for me.
Just finished a 9-foot Sasquatch. My actual background is 35 years in the stone industry. Back in England at Gloucester Cathedral, then I came to America, then I met a young lady, ended up in Ohio. Been dabbling with a chainsaw for about 2 years, and then first of the year started doing it full time. The typical size is around 2.5 to 3 feet and up. I don't like to go much smaller than that because the tip of the chainsaw only goes so small, and then you start using hand tools and Dremels, and the time factor on a piece goes exponentially bigger. So small is not always cheaper or inexpensive. Start with the size, and then it's walk out front with the client, find the log, and then a lot of times the log will tell me which way the head's going to point, or depending on the setting where the client wants it in their backyard, they might want it looking over the left shoulder or right shoulder, or just straight on. And then I just follow a process that I use to carve. And I use a lot of photographs of the real thing. It's really weird. Every eagle that I do comes out different. But I use the same process, but everyone comes out different. And what I find is the moment I put the eyes in the piece, and that doesn't matter whether it's an eagle, an owl, a bear, once I put the eyes in, it almost gives it a heartbeat. And then it's kind of like, okay, now it's looking at me, and it's kind of a weird feeling, but it's kind of cool. It's a lot of fun. It is hard work, but when you're working on a piece and you finally get down to that final detail, or I'm putting the final coats of polyurethane on it or sealer, and I know the client's coming to pick it up, in my mind, I really like the piece. And when I see the client come into the shop and you see that smile and that wow, that wow factor just makes it all worthwhile.
Carvings by Chris is located in Perry, Ohio. Our next story started off as a dare. This is from the Blue Bag.
From the Blue Bag is a recycled giftware company that utilizes unused waste to create food functional products. So what we'll do is we will take discarded wine bottles, champagne bottles, etc., and create unique gifts out of them. Being an artist, a very good friend of mine said, I can't throw all these wine bottles away. I'll look like an alcoholic. And she goes, fine, figure out something to do with it. That was many, many years ago, and I took the challenge and created From the Blue Bag, because at the time, when you recycled, you put your recyclables in a blue trash bag on the curb. First, we must consume the alcohol. After we consume the alcohol, we'll take it and We usually let them soak sometimes about a 24-hour period because you have to get the label completely off and any of the glue or anything else on the label needs to be spotless. After that, it goes to a drying rack and it dries. Once it dries, we'll put it in the kiln. A kiln load will take about 12 hours. And then from there, it either gets embellished with beads and wire or we laser engrave it. Well, our most popular item is our wedding bottle. And our wedding bottle, what we do is we will take the invitation of a couple getting married and we will laser engrave that onto a flattened champagne bottle. It comes with a stand, so it not only reminds you of that champagne toast at your wedding, but it also gives you a memory that you have forever. Woodford is an amazing bottle to make a cigar ashtray. We have people ask for it all the time. So some of them, like this one, we can actually preserve the label so you still have that memory. And then there's other bottles like this one where everybody can just look at that bottle and know what it is. And the other thing that we do is you still have the texture in the bottle. It doesn't fire away and the caps are always back on the bottles. We had a plethora of clear wine bottles, and nobody liked the clear wine bottles because they were plain. If you engrave on them, it's hard to see. So one of my customers actually said, can you put liquid back in the bottle? So it was like, okay, let's see if we can do it. And that's what we started doing. And here's one that we started. This is what we call our Merlot series. So it actually looks, we joke all the time, that there's an emergency shot left in the bottle. But if you'll see, the wine will go all the way around the bottle. We're the only ones that keep the tops. So I can put the cork back in the bottle. I can put the screw top back on the Crown Royal. You will not find that. The other thing that we do is by keeping the top, it now gives it its own legs so it sits up off the table. Because if you look at all the other bottles that are flattened out there, they're like that. And you look at the ugly bottom, I think it's ugly. I like to see the full character of the bottle. It's totally customizable. We have done awards for businesses. Like I said, the wedding bottle. So this is that couple's wedding invitation that goes on that bottle. Exactly as it is on the invitation, that's how it goes onto the bottle. As long as you have a logo or whatever, I can laser engrave it on there. The sky's the limit. I work with all my customers, and whatever they want, I work very hard at doing. They can pick their bottle colors. You know, we incorporate them in what we do.
You can learn more about From the Blue Bag by visiting their website. How about this? A welder who makes robots. Welcome back to New Day Cleveland. Giant robots, flowers, and more. That is what Mike makes at Iron Image Design.
Iron Image Design is my company. Everything that I do is steel, and so, you know, you think about it, I start off with an image in my head and then I design it. And it's all metal, it's all iron. Anything that a magnet can stick to. I was always artistic, and then I went to college and got a certificate in welding, and I just felt like making some stuff, you know. I was working maintenance, and I just wasn't getting a lot of joy out of that job. So when I started to make the stuff, I found out that I could make some money at it. And one thing led to another. I figured, you know what, if I can make 10 of these little guys a day, I'm making way more than I'm making at maintenance. So industrial components, automotive components, pneumatics, hydraulics, anything you think of, from clutch housings to cylinders, spark plugs. Like I said, anything that a magnet will stick to, you know. And I have my pickup truck always loaded with metal. Everybody knows I'm the metal guy. I have more brake drums than I know what to do with. I don't need any more brake drums for everybody watching. I think that this kind of gives an idea of everything that's going on in my mind. Like, there's so many archived memories of what I want to do with specific pieces. And it'll be put away with cobwebs on it for 3 years, and then finally it just popped, that I need that. And then I go rummage for it. Sometimes I get stressed out because I can't find it for a couple days, but then I find that one piece that somebody else would have considered garbage, but it makes this piece of art that I've been working on for a month, you know. He's a couple years old, actually. I started his frame probably 3 years ago, and he got stuck outside in the snow for a couple seasons and just forgotten about because I started doing other projects and commissions come, you know, and then commissions die out, and then I can bounce back to things I want to do. You know, I love metal because you can manipulate it in certain ways, but it's permanent. Once you manipulate it in a certain way, it's staying that way until you understand the techniques to manipulate it in another way. So I really like fish. Fish are, I consider, my niche. I can do really large scale fish, and each one of them has been a home run. I can go with more of the industrial robotic look, or I can get a lifelike fossil look that it would belong right into the Natural History Museum. It's generally the same group of reactions from everyone, you know, oohing and eyeing, and then how much does it weigh, how long did it take you, does it work, does it walk? I've done work at the Yacht Club, I've done work at the IX Center, I've done robots to flowers, Stan Hewitt Hall and Garden. I'm carving my niche in northeastern Ohio, and I'm expanding. I'm gonna take over the United States with these guys. You know, I want my stuff everywhere. Ultimately, I want to have some pieces that move. Kinetic art is cool, but I'm really more into servos and electronics, remote control and stuff like that. And I find that people are really drawn to that. If this guy turned his head and looked at people or had some motion detector on him, oh, that would be next level, definitely.
To contact Iron Image Design, best way, just go to their website. All right, how about a different kind of artwork? This is one that is inspired by the Cleveland skyline. This is Ann Kate.
Ann Kate is a Made in America and Cleveland-based accessories boutique that specializes in skyline silhouette purses and pillows. The idea came from a dorm room pillow creation back in the day when I went to Kent State, where I made some pillows with my favorite city skylines on them. And one thing led to another. I tested them out on an Etsy store I had previously, and next thing you know, we were selling these products like crazy. We started with just one skyline, and now we offer over 100 different designs that have been hand designed and are very unique and meaningful to customers around the world. Our purses range from mini purses to wristlets to makeup bags. We have a weekender tote, and one of our best sellers is a stadium-approved NFL game day bag. So we do our team colors with the coordinating skyline. So our assortment varies, but they are all simplistic and very unique to our customer base. Within our 100 skylines, we have cities big and small. Of course, our best seller is Cleveland, but our other popular skylines range from international skylines to local skylines like Hudson, Ohio, Akron, and every city in between. Ann Kate scaled to our own manufacturing studio. Prior to this, we were sewing in our home studio, and prior to that, in a dorm room. So we've really taken the business from something very small to now a wonderful business employing 5 people. The space is more of a manufacturing studio with the idea that customers are welcome to come in and shop. Our showroom, by appointment only. We're typically here 9 to 5 every day. We get our fabric in and it's cut here, it's sewn here. Everything from conception to design to creation to fulfillment. So what Gia is doing here is she is making our wristlet straps. Our straps start from a 1-inch piece of leather that we bind on our sewing machines, and then how we finish them is with our rivet press. Ann Kate has been an exciting journey and one I'm so grateful for. I've always dreamed of being an entrepreneur since I was 13, and to be able to pursue it and see it grow has been so rewarding. But the biggest part and the best part about running this business is knowing the impact our products have on customers. I can't tell you the amount of times customers come to me and tell me how meaningful their gift meant to the recipient, or how they're purchasing this product for someone who moved away from home and they cried when they received it because it reminded them of home. I love that our products are truly more than a purse and a pillow. They're a story for each customer.
You can shop your favorite Skyline bag at AnnKate.com. When we return, we are showing you cutting boards with unique shapes. They're really cool. Welcome back to New Day Cleveland as we continue to highlight local artists from across Northeast Ohio. Hey, if you're looking for a quality cutting board, look no further. This is Mako Cutting Boards.
Mako makes a lot of different things, but this is these are kind of the core of the stuff that's most popular. This is the Hedgehog Pig. This is the Flask. This is new. These are cheese spreaders for soft cheeses, butters. Kind of a typical end grain board that we use. This is kind of the design. We like to use 2-inch wide overlapping strips for strength, and they're pretty nice looking. And we make all different sizes of these. These are pretty popular. This stuff that you'll see over here is things that we did for restaurants across the country. These two are a couple good examples of simple little breadboard with little cutouts for ramekins in there. This one was stained, and they're both sealed with a food-safe, water-based sealant. And of course, the cheese block we sell. Recently we started selling because people started asking for them. This started as a display for the spreaders, but people wanted the cute little cheese block too. I was in the corporate world for about 17 years as an IT director, and I always did stuff with wood one way or another. I always built stuff. We make all kinds of kitchenware, wood. We use locally harvested, sustainable hardwoods. What made me want to do these shapes, which seems kind of, simplistic, but when I went looking for them online, there isn't really any place you can get them, nice ones, that are shapes. And I thought, man, I can really make some nice stuff. And as it turns out, people like them. We're going to run this through a cycle that's going to put in the juice groove, the eye, and a little cutout for the tail. We started making, at about the same time we were doing the shapes, pastry boards. We got a walnut one and a cherry and maple one. There's a lot of debates about plastic versus wood. One of the things to remember about wood is that people have been using wood for thousands of years for cutting surfaces. Plastic is good. They say you can put it in the dishwasher. That's true. You cannot put your wood board in the dishwasher, but plastic ones, most residential dishwashers don't get hot enough to kill bacteria. Now, we sell it online. Mostly, we sell a lot on Etsy. You can go to makoboards.com. You can also on Amazon, we started selling some of that stuff. And you can, of course, go to Market Provisions in Ashtabula Harbor. They have just about everything that we sell. And that's really kind of one of the things I wanted to do when I quit my other corporate gig was, I want to make cool stuff that people can use that's really good quality.
The best way to contact Mako Cutting Boards is online. They would make great gifts, let me tell you. And how about some other great gift ideas? These are from Laughing Girl Design.
Laughing Girl Designs is my own creation. It's a combination of different mediums that I've worked throughout the years. And this was a hobby that's now turned into a business. I do all kinds of different things, but all of a sudden I found a need for people that were wanting things that were regional. Like everybody's big into Cleveland, and there wasn't really people making items for, say, Lake County, Ashtabula County, Geauga County, and those are, that's how I started. I started making Chardon pillows and Menor pillows and found my own little niche. I'll work on a design and I try to make it specific. Like for Chardon, I incorporate it, and it's not real hard. With Chardon, you think of the Geauga County Maple Festival, so of course that's a maple leaf. Fairport Harbor, my father's from there. I take pictures. Photography is another one of my loves, and I had taken pictures of the lighthouse, and I decided to just make that into a tracing, put it on a pillow, and a lot of people love it, because it speaks to them. That's their home. And a lot of my customers are from, they live out of state, and that brings home to them. The pillows, there's a lot of different designs now. I think I'm up to about 25. The Mother's Day pillow that I made last year was simply for a really good friend of mine. And what it is, it's incorporated in the word mom, and I can do it in grandma, I can do it in grandpa, or any term of endearment. I work the name of the kids' names that are beloved to them into the design of mom. And the kids really love it. They like when they see their name on grandma's pillow. You know, it's kind of a unique idea. Those blocks are back from when I bought the silhouette, and it was around the holidays, and I started making little designs. After we put the design on it, we put like a frosting, and then there's a coating that goes on afterwards, just so it won't nick off. They seem to be a popular item. People like them. They have a nice glow about them. There's no way to get bored in what I do, because I always find something else, or somebody will ask me, hey, and that's what I love. A lot of my customers will say, can you do this? And even if I can't, I learn and I'll try, you know. I take my time and I put a lot of me into their item, and that when they purchase something from me, that they're getting the best of what I can give them, and that they'll, you know, want to share with their friends, and they're going to be completely happy with it.
You can shop for her products by going on to her website, LaughingGirl.com. When we come back, we are talking wallets made from comic books. Welcome back to New Day Cleveland. How about some handcrafted wallets made from your favorite comic books? That's exactly what you'll find at Regeeked.
Regeeked is a line of handcrafted wallets and accessories that I make out of repurposed comic books and sometimes other recycled papers. Everything from damaged modern comic books to truly vintage quarter bin finds. In February, maybe January of 2011, I really wanted a comic book wallet for myself. I don't know why, or like there were no movies coming out, I don't know. I just wanted a real comic book wallet. And some people were making them, I saw some online. Nothing was really the quality I wanted. They were really cheaply made, held together with tape, glue. Wasn't really what I was looking for, so I decided to make my own. And then I gave a couple to some friends, and they were like, maybe you should start charging us for these, and that's where it all started. The comic books I'm choosing are all about the artwork. And a lot of them, it's based on the panel size, so a lot of really old vintage comics are hard to use because the panels are so small and it's a lot of text. So more modern ones work really well for me. But some of the Flintstone old ones, some of the Looney Tunes, the lines in there are really funny, and sometimes I will splice them together to make it look like it was made for my wallets, even though it wasn't. But it really is about the artwork. I have two favorite places, Carol and John's, which I'm sure very many people are familiar with, and then my local comic store, JC Comics. He's been really great. He knows what I do with them, which I know is heartbreaking for some people, but he has a bin of damaged and older comics that I go and sort through every couple weeks, and that's where I find them. I picked out a comic that I think would be a good fit for this particular wallet design, and then I go ahead and trace out my pieces. Sometimes there's really good art and it's a really quick project. Sometimes it takes a lot longer and a lot more reading to get something good. I want to make the most visually appealing wallet that's still, you can still read it and enjoy it, and it's a great conversation piece. So there's a lot of different kinds of wallets, like longer pocketbook wallets. I just started doing bookmarks. I also do pins and keychains, luggage tags. I'm trying to do planner covers and binders now. Just trying to use as much of the paper as I can, trying to make as little waste as possible. Anytime I do a show in person, there's always at least 2 or 3 people that come up to me and they'll show me like, oh my gosh, I think you did this. I bought it from you at this place 3 years ago. And that's just a really great feeling, because when I started doing this, it was just for me. I had no idea. Like there's actually some person who just replaced theirs and he had had his for almost 7 years. One of the first ones I made. So that was really cool.
You can shop your own comic book wallet at Regeeked.com. Well, from repurposing comic books to repurposing wood, imagination creation makes fine furniture.
I am a woodworker, and I started this business 3.5 to 4 years ago. I was driving down the street and I saw a piece of fallen timber, and I said, that looks interesting. I wonder if I could make anything out of that. And ever since I was a little kid, I've always loved woodworking, but nothing like this. So I stopped, picked up that piece of wood, and here we are today, 3.5, 4 years later. I make furniture and I make art. And so you'll see some pieces here that I think are art, and some of them are usable to sit on, others they're just to look at. And then I also started making, about a year ago, live edge tables. Now the wood I get for that I procure from about 3 or 4 different people who sell raw pieces that are kiln dried, and then I take them and turn them into the tables that we see here. And they, coffee tables or tables that you would put behind a couch. I can make them any height anybody wants, make them for any type of usage too. I've also made countertops for a bathroom. I did that for one client, and also somebody else I made a kitchen countertop too. I don't go for the species of wood, I go for what it looks like. Different species, all different types. Birch, spalted maple, red oak, white oak, black walnut. Just something that catches my eye. And all the wood, all the pieces that you see here, I haven't cut anything away from it. Some pieces I leave the bark on, other pieces I take the bark off of. All the pieces can be used either indoors or outdoors, any one of the pieces. I sand it, and then I use polyacrylic, and there's at least 8 coats of polyacrylic on it. I will put a coat on, make sure it's dry, lightly sand it, and do that over and over again until I feel like it's the way I want it. Now I don't stain anything. Everything you see is natural, but it turns a color once I put the polyacrylic on it, and each wood, some will get lighter, some will get darker, and I'll never know until I go to seal it how it's going to turn out. The biggest pleasure I get from it is people seeing it. And they go, wow, this is really gorgeous. This is really nice. I really like this. That's what I really honestly do get the most enjoyment from.
You can learn more about Imagination Creation online. I hope you have enjoyed our local artist show. Again, as I said, so many talented people. And I know there's so many more to explore. So you can find a lot of these great folks and their work online, but they also show up in places like this where you can go to shops and buy their handmade local goods. A big thank you here to Artisans Corner Gallery in Newbury because they gave us this beautiful backdrop. You have to stop in here and see some of these great works of art. I thank you for joining us. I'm Natalie Herbeck, and we will see you on the next New Day Cleveland.